Welcome to Century Classroom. Century Ply values the trust of its customers, contractors, carpenters, and architects and promises to keep it intact. To help you buy original Century Ply every single time, we have introduced Century Promise app. Install Century Promise app on your smartphone, log in and scan the QR code. Get the authenticity of your plywood verified. E-warranty certificate can be downloaded instantly on app or can be sent to your registered email ID. If you are a customer, you can ensure your peace of mind by verifying the authenticity of the plywood. Contractors can win over their customers by their transparent approach and by issuing e-warranty certificates in the customer's name. Architects can impress their customers and win their trust by issuing e-warranty certificates. Century Ply is the only company to use smart technology. Thank you for watching Century Classroom. Welcome to Century.
Good evening and welcome to the Bengal Chamber Think session with Mr. Amit Monga. We will take questions at the end of the session. You may write the questions in the comment section. I would now like to welcome Mr. Anup Hoon, Chairperson, Marketing and Brand Committee of the Bengal Chamber, to take the session forward. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Shornali.
Recording in progress.
Good evening. Just one moment. Good evening, friends, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a pleasure to welcome you all today to another edition of the Bengal Chamber Think series. The Chamber started off the Think series of lectures about 11 years ago with the intention of providing our members and the audience a forum to listen to eminent personalities on issues of contemporary relevance, spanning the economy, business, industry, the social context, issues of national importance, and the like. With the quality of speakers that we have had the privilege to host, the Chamber has been very successful in its effort with regard to the Think series lectures. Over the years, we've had corporate leaders, sports personalities, academicians, thought leaders, and somebody from the armed forces come and address us. But today, we have a speaker who actually is from an extremely niche area of marketing. Today, the marketing community, I divide into three parts, right? Those who are on the hazy side of the digital divide, which is people like me. There are people who live on the digital divide and those who are enlightened about the digital divide. So I think it's going to be a pleasure to listen, learn from the speaker this evening. Let me welcome and introduce Mr. Amit Monga, our speaker for this evening. Mr. Amit Monga is one of the co-founder of India's first full-stack e-commerce enabler, ANS Commerce. An e-commerce veteran of 11 years of experience, Amit started a couple of ventures, Fitretti, Fit Reco Engine, and esportsbay.com, the latter of which he sold to Snapdeal. An IIT Delhi graduate, Amit loves onboarding brands and growing their business, and shall today share with us his insights of how best we can maximize our investments into e-commerce marketplaces. Let us, ladies and gentlemen, welcome and listen to Mr. Monga as he takes us through on some of the new metrics, new rules, new segments as we try to decipher marketing in the e-enabled world. I must thank our sponsors, Century Ply, The Telegraph, and JS Group, who have made this evening possible. May I now invite Mr. Monga to begin his session.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anup, for the humble introduction. And I'm really honored to be participating in this session. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share our learnings, our experience with the Chamber partners and members. I'm gonna just share my screen, and I will use a presentation to anchor some of the talking points that I have for this session. And I'll try to make it in a manner where the participants are able to relate it to the real world, and try to sort of understand more about how e-commerce, and especially within e-commerce, direct to consumer, which is D2C, is in today's world changing the way we conduct our businesses, changes the way we interact with our society. So let me know when you guys are able to see my screen, and I'll get going after that.
Your screen is visible, Mr. Monga.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, great. So once again, thank you everyone for providing us this opportunity to talk about this very important topic of decoding e-commerce and direct to consumer brand ecosystem. We all know how much e-commerce is growing as a segment, but just to give you a glimpse of the kind of projections that we have in front, and that will make it real in terms of why this needs to be the focus for all business owners in the country, especially the business owners who have created legacy brands, and how they need to put their bandwidths, they need to put their focus, they need to put the armory together to ensure they capture this wave of e-commerce going forward. The pre-COVID projections of e-commerce, which was pegged around $40 billion, that's already has moved significantly post-COVID. But even without COVID, the projections in the next 5 years takes the industry to $160 billion. That's a 4x jump in the industry segment. Now, what's interesting to note in this is, of this $160 billion industry, which is expected by 2025-26, 40% of this is going to be driven by branded e-commerce, which is brand e-commerce selling on either brand store, which is their own direct to consumer channels, or marketplaces, which can be direct to consumer via marketplaces such as Amazon, Flipkart, etc., or the other way around, which is by enabling partners to enable through marketplaces, which is your retailers, distributors, to reach out to the end consumer via the marketplaces. And then there will always be e-commerce enabled by sellers and private labels, etc. That also contributes to the entire pie. But a significant portion of the e-commerce is going to be driven by branded e-commerce. And if we go one level down in terms of D2C, how much the D2C growth is expected, it is expected, and this is D2C across channels. And this D2C channel,
I see the enthusiasm is not there. It's like an.
So this D2C channel is expected, the D2C business is expected to reach $100 billion. And the categories which are going to be of prominence, other than the fashion, lifestyle, electronics, and appliances, which in a traditional world also contributes a majority of the pie, FMCG and home decor, and particularly within FMCG, apart from grocery, which is a high repeat category, beauty, personal care, wellness, health, nutrition as a category is of particular interest. And you would have seen a lot of D2C brands coming in the last year or so trying to capture that pie. What we have as an estimate today is about 800 plus D2C brands which are there in the country trying to address 165 million online shoppers. And this number is expected to grow, at least on the D2C brand store, 10x in the next 4 to 5 years. A number of brands which will emerge and try to be digitally native first in order to connect to the new generation consumer, the Gen X, Gen Z consumers, which spend a majority of their time on the internet, on the digital world. Before I start talking more about how you need to start pick, or how brands see this entire ecosystem, what kind of challenges they face, and how as an organization we venture into solving some of these pieces, and how does that happen globally. I want to quickly talk about some of the key trends in D2C that you would already be experiencing, or you would be hearing from people in terms of what the focus in D2C is. So one of them is being social commerce, which is how do you enable purchases via social media. Now, this social commerce is of multiple types. So you would see the likes of Mishos of the world, which utilize the effect of community